Tonight, the battle for the hearts and the minds of Chicago area teens on the internet through social media.
They are targeted by terrorists like those who executed that Jordanian pilot by setting him on fire. Our Chief Correspondent Jay Levine spoke with police officials and community leaders to get an idea of who's winning Chicago's war on terror. Jay.
Maya and Rob, we were all terrified and horrified by today's barbaric execution in the Middle East. It shows exactly what Chicago's counterterrorism forces are dealing with, trying to keep us safe from ISIS and those they're trying to recruit right here in Chicago.
What concerns you more, the lone wolf terrorist or some kind of plot hatched overseas with recruited operatives here?
The lone wolf right now, based on all the intelligence we have. Whether it's ISIS or Al-Qaeda, encouraging people to go out and do their own personal jihad.
People like Mohammed Hamza Khan, the Bolingbrook teenager whose mother recently made this plea.
And we have a message for ISIS, Mr. Baghdadi and his fellow social media recruiters. Leave our children alone.
There are individuals out there that we know that are young, still live at home, that are enamored with the ISIS message. And so if that plea from Hamza's mother reaches another parent, I'm all for that.
We believe the ISIS ideology is actually enemies of Islam.
Osama Jamal represents the Chicago area's largest Islamic community. The Mosque Foundation in Bridgeview is caught in the middle between recruiting and revenge. Recent police protection there followed an internet exchange about an eye for an eye and starting with the mosque down the street. Though two suspects surrendered, were questioned by police and released.
They really didn't mean any harm to nobody. And obviously they said they were sorry for the problems that they caused.
For people already struggling silently against terrorists who've targeted their children. We tried to contact the mother who spoke out and others about warning signs, but all declined.
They fear for their lives.
But what they tell their children is clearly limiting those who fall for the terrorist social media messages.
We don't believe there is a widespread. We believe there are some may out of curiosity.
Like three teenage girls from suburban Denver, allegedly planning to join ISIS, who flew to Frankfurt before authorities stopped them.
We thought that the boys was easy target. To our surprise, the girls were easy target.
The majority of young people, they know this is not acceptable.
The challenge is to interrupt the recruiting process before it gets too far. The FBI wants to help.
I think they would much rather us get involved when he's at the lower end of that radicalization process, where we can interject ourselves and resolve this before an individual breaks the law.
Have you actually done that?
I'll say yes to that question, Jay, but I don't want to get into the details of it.
This is our country, by choice. We want it to be in this country, and we want to make sure that it is safe and secure.
Jamal and other leaders of the Islamic community are now teaming with other religious leaders in addition to sharing information with local law enforcement as the recruiting of Americans by ISIS and others threatens to expand their reign of terror from Syria and Iraq to the West and perhaps even to Chicago. Rob, mine.
Jamal makes a good point. A lot of people who live in this country who come from overseas do so because they want to be here. So why then do some of these young people relate better to what's going on in the Middle East, perhaps, than this particular country?
They buy into a convoluted argument based on the old saying, the friend of my enemy is my enemy, as it relates to what's going on in the Middle East right now and the battle against ISIS. They are drawn in by that. But what happened today, ISIS executing a fellow Muslim, could change the equation, and instead of driving Arab governments away from the U.S., could bring them closer.
Very interesting. All right, Jay, thanks.